Welcome to an episode of Jazz Sports Talk. Welcome to the 2025-26 NFL Conference Championship Weekend. That's right, we're down to the Final Four. 4 teams remain to find out who's going to get those tickets to Santa Clara for the Super Bowl. We'll also go over the previous week divisional round, the heart-palpitation, especially for a lot of teams out there on what transpires that week. We'll also go over some coaching changes that have transpired. Coach has been fired and hired. So we'll go over some of those decisions before we dive into the Final Four. So let's kick things off from the divisional round. 4 games on the docket. I actually went 3-1. I'm actually quite proud of myself in that aspect. And we kick things off in Denver, where the Bills came to town. Now, with Denver having a young team, but veteran coach, and then the veteran status of the Buffalo aspect, I picked Buffalo in this matchup. And this game went back and forth between the two. And turnovers really played havoc for Josh Allen and the Bills throughout this entire game. And just bad throws all around, but that was a good good Denver defense that created that chaos that gave Bo Nix the opportunity. The game actually went to overtime. Best fitting game for this one because, like I said, this was good battle back and forth. During the overtime session, Bo Nix was driving, and I think the second to last play, he got hurt, but you didn't know he got hurt because he stayed in the game. Apparently, he broke a foot broke a bone in his ankle, not his foot. But he ended up helping drive the Broncos to a game-winning field goal. They kicked it. They won it 33-30. But Bo Nix is now out. Jason Stidham is now named the starting quarterback, who last started for any team was back in 2023. In the AFC, and then he's going to be playing the AFC Championship game, the most important game right now of this Denver Broncos team. So a lot of question marks there. Not too long after that game, Sean McDermott was let go by the Buffalo Bills. 9 seasons, very good. I mean, they've been a dominant force in the AFC East, but they could never seem to do anything in the playoffs. And that's been, I think, the hard thing about that was that, the continuing to lose in the playoffs. And Josh Allen had no one else to blame. I mean, there was no Burrow, no Jackson, no Mahomes. It was only him, and he still couldn't do it. Is it the coaching, or is it the amount of players he has with him? You can just decide that on your own. So that's my only loss. So we go into later that Saturday. We go up to Seattle, where the 49ers came into town, limped in, and it was over from the opening kickoff when the Seahawks ran it back. And it was just onslaught after that as the Seahawks thumped the 49ers 41-6. Then we move up to Sunday. Then we head over to New England, where the Texans came to town, and the Texans defense showed up. C.J. Stroud did not. You think the turnovers were a good thing? Yeah, if you make ample turnovers, sure. But that turning over the ball to the other team, not so much. But Houston defense kept the Texans in there. The defense also kept, the Patriots scrambling and had a hard time trying to figure things out. Drake May looked a lot of sorts here and there. He also made some boneheaded throws. But in the end of it, the Patriots won again, 28-16, heading to Denver for the AFC title. But thing about New England, they have a thing about backup quarterbacks. Well, they always seem to have problems with backup quarterbacks when they go against them because they don't prepare for them. I think that's what it is. You see all this tape about the starting quarterback, then you're like, well, now you got the backup. Who's he? Nick Foles, anyone? And then Sunday night, we had to frigid Chicago as the Rams headed to town, take on the Bears. I said last week, Chicago had to come out right away and make a statement. They failed to do that. But they never gave up. The opening drive turned to an interception. Rams ended up scoring. The Bears ended up tying it. This game went back and forth. Now, Caleb Williams threw a lot of interception this game, and that's one of the things that downplayed Chicago. So I think, you got to find ways to, one, get better offensive linemen. You boost up the offensive line in the offseason. Maybe find another receiver to really help them out. But at the end of the game, once again, the Cardiac Bears came through. Fourth down, Caleb Williams was scrambling. He went like 20 yards backwards. Jumped up and threw on his foot. Cole Kmet in the corner in the end zone for a touchdown. I mean, once again, the Bears were just doing miracle plays to try to find a victory. So in the game overtime, once again, the Bears went driving down, intercepted. Rams came back, set up a game-winning field goal. There you go. The Rams won in Chicago. First time they won in frigid temperatures in Chicago in the playoffs. Last time I think they won in Chicago was like 2003. And now they're heading to Seattle to take on the division of foes to find out who's going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. So definitely the division round, like I said, heart palpitations everywhere. Disappointment, shock. I mean, especially how bad Seattle ran over San Francisco. Like I said, I went 3-1. I did pick the Rams to beat the Bears. Like I said, I wasn't a homer last week. So your Final Four is set. But before we get into that one, let's go back and over some of the aspects. I already mentioned Buffalo let go of Sean McDermott. I'm not sure that's going to be a wise choice. I see why they did it. The Titans have hired Robert Saleh as their new head coach. Last time he was a head coach, he was with the New York Jets. And, well, it's the New York Jets. Now, Rob Saleh's defense got decimated last week in Seattle, but he seems to be a very decent defensive-minded coach, very decent individual overall. He finds himself a very good offensive coordinator to help him out to find ways to really tap into Cam Ward's abilities. Because Cam Ward showed some life towards the end of the season, and it was just too little too late, I think. The New York Giants won the John Harbaugh sweepstakes as Harbaugh is now taking over Big Blue. There's going to be a lot of things. He brought in a lot of things that he's like, if I'm coming here, this is what's going to be. And the G-men said, yes, sir. If Harbaugh can get the things in place he really needs, I really think the Giants could be the team to beat next year in the NFC East. We'll have to see how that one plays out, but Harbaugh is a very good coach. You can get the right personnel in place. I mean, look what he did with Baltimore. I mean, especially on the defensive side, the Giants have a decent defense. The offense has talent. They have targets. You have Neighbors and Dart. We'll see how things kind of play out. And the Atlanta Falcons brought in Kevin Stefanski, the former Browns head coach, will now head down to Atlanta to take over. And we'll kind of see how that one kind of plays out, because he has abilities. I mean, his Cleveland teams were sometimes very competitive, but in the end, just bad personnel decisions really hampered him. Now he has Michael Penix Jr. there. Maybe Kirk Cousins stays. He has some decent weapons on offense. Defense looks decent, so we kind of see how things kind of placate from there. Offensive coordinator, Bieniemy is rumored to go back to Kansas City to replace Nagy, which I think might be a better option. But we'll kind of see how those type of things kind of placate. Time to head into the Final Four. Time to head over to the Mile High City in the Denver Broncos, number 1 seed, to play host to the New England Patriots. And with Stidham being the starting quarterback, Denver's chances, I think, plummets significantly. But that defense is going to be a key factor in this game. Denver's defense is no laughing matter. Drake May is going to have his hands full, much like he did with the Houston defense. He's going to look out of sorts. And I think Benito's going to find himself in that backfield quite a bit. The Patriots defense really got to step up and really just go after Stidham. Like I said, he hasn't played in a couple seasons meaningful football. Even then when he played, it was mop-up duties. So things don't look good for the Broncos in this one. But like I said, the defense is going to be a huge factor. It's going to be a defensive showdown. I kind of expect it to kind of be a low-scoring affair, possibly. But right now, analytics like the Patriots at 59%. The Lions in favor of New England at 4.5. The over-under right now is 41.5. I might go with the under on this one just because of the quarterback play for Denver. But I think it's the Patriots. I mean, as much as I don't like to see the Patriots back in the Super Bowl, I mean, we've had like 2 decades of Patriots there, and I was like, no, it's time for someone else. Even though things point towards Denver because of, one, they're the number 1 seed. Last time they were that, they won the championship. 2, last time they did that, the Super Bowl was in Santa Clara. That's where it's at now. And 3, the Patriots tend to lose to backup quarterbacks. But I think it's just going to be the aspects of those defenses. I like Denver's a little bit better. 4.5, yeah, sure. But I'm going under for the points, but I do think the Patriots will find ways to win and find themselves back into the Super Bowl once again. Then later on that night, we have to Seattle as they have 1 seed Seahawks take on their divisional rivals, the Los Angeles Rams. This one should be a dandy. Sam Darnold has really blossomed now as the starting quarterback up there in Seattle. He had a great year in Minnesota where he was tapped as the backup and then playing because J.J. McCarthy got injured. Had a wonderful year in Minnesota. Stumbled the last 2 games, including the divisional round loss to the Rams. So this is his revenge for those same Rams. And Matthew Stafford continues to find ways to win. The Rams continue to do that. I mean, you saw that in Chicago. They just had a hard time. Had a hard time in Charlotte, too, trying to get past the Panthers. So the defense kind of shows weaknesses in Sal's defense. I call it the reemergence of Legion of Boom. But when I was watching last week with that, they kind of called their defense the dark side. I see that. It's nothing but darkness and pure evil intentions by the Seahawks defense as they blanket the 49ers, decimated, injured offense. They're not going to have that issue with the Rams. But you look at last week, Puka Nacua was kind of silent against the Bears. I feel the Seahawks could do the exact same thing. They need to get to Stafford and disrupt his timing. They are able to do that in past meetings. I mean, last time these two faced off was back on the 18th of December and was an overtime matchup with a 2-point conversion to win the game by the Seahawks. Mind you, so I do see this going to be very, very close. The Seahawks defense paired up against the Rams offense. I kind of like Seahawks defense a little bit better in that aspect. As analytics do as well, 54%. The line has it at 1.5. Looking at their past matchup, where it's only 1 point because a 2-point play to win a game. You know what? I think this is going to be the game to watch out for. I think whoever wins this game is probably going to be the favorite for the Super Bowl. I really do. And for me, like I said, I just like the aspects of that defense by the Seahawks, stifling Stanford. Now, Sam Darnold is listed as questionable right now. because he got kind of banged up a little bit because of his oblique. So we'll see if he'll be 100% for Sunday. I'm sure he'll go no matter what. He's looking for, like I said, looking for revenge for the Rams because they knocked him out last year in the playoffs when he had a very good Vikings team. So he's got some more meaning behind this one. Like I said, I like Seattle this one. I do like it being close. I do see it being like a no more than 3 points. I think that's probably, I think as far as it's going to go. It might be like a 2-point win. The over on this one's 47.5. I think I picked the over on this one just because how these two teams play. But I'm taking Seattle to win, to head to Santa Clara for a Super Bowl showdown with the New England Patriots. A matchup that happened once before that didn't turn out too well for New England, or for Seattle, excuse me. But there you go. Quick fashion this time. I mean, the divisional rounds was phenomenal. If you watched that, you were intense. I mean, I was sitting there in front of that TV watching the Bears game, cheering the Bears, even though I picked the Rams. So I look at it this way. I win no matter which way it goes. Pizza and bear. That's how I did that. But disappointing loss for the Bears, but show for signs of things that could possibly happen down in the future. Bad things for Buffalo, losing again in the playoffs. Seems to be the standard Bills motif since the merger. Last time they won a championship was back in the old AFL. But Buffalo suffers some type of loss somewhere in the playoffs. During Jim Kelly era, so it was 4 straight Super Bowls. Josh Allen era, they can't seem to get past the AFC Championship. Seeing New England once again on the doorsteps of the Super Bowl. A lot of people are upset about that one just because of the legacy of the Belichick-Brady era. But all things being considered, I think it's going to be a very good conference championship between these two teams. I do expect things to kind of play out. I think, like I said, New England, Denver should be a defensive showdown. Seattle, LA, probably more offensive. Should be an interesting weekend for Sunday. And let me know down below what you think about my picks. Mix it up in the comments. More mix it up, better boost the YouTube algorithm. The almighty we must pay homage to ensure frontal cortexes are overloaded with cessation videos that we absolutely need and date on ourselves to blank out the noise from other things going on in the world. Another thing to do with this video, hit that thumbs up. You want to first support this channel, you want to do subscribe. Now if you do, it just costs you a thing. You hit the subscribe button, smash that bell icon, and click on notifications to know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I will see you next time. Chat Sports Talk.